No one will ever in your tub. Yeah, I've literally never thought of that in my entire adult life. I think it's probably pretty normal when you become a parent to miss some of the things that come along with child-free life. At least that's what Casey says. I found this article online earlier this week, but she basically talks about things that she misses now that she has children. Now, she doesn't wish away her children. She loves being a mom, but she says, you know what, you child-free people, sometimes you're lucky because these are not things that you even have to deal with. The walk to your bedroom is not lined with Lego shrapnel. It's been a really long time since I played with Lego, and yeah, stepping on Lego hurts. I remember when I was a little kid, we had this brown suitcase. It was probably like that big, and it was filled with Lego. Now, our Legos were super plain. I remember there was the occasional Lego that had like a little smiley face on it, or you know, some sort of design. That was the piece, or those were the pieces that my sisters and I used to fight over because they were the most exciting pieces. I feel like that Lego now has evolved massively since I played with those little Legos when I was a kid. That was like Lego 1.0. We're like at Lego 10.0. I've bought Lego for my nieces and they have such exciting designs now. I imagine my mom had her fair share of walking on our Lego shrapnel. I'm Hannah, welcome to Wife Without Kids. I believe that having kids is a choice and not a social obligation, so I created this channel so we would have a supportive and non-judgmental community for those of us who have made the choice to not have any children. Next, your dry clean only clothes have never been used as a tissue. I have to confess something to you guys. I don't think I own any dry clean only clothes. I can't even think of one. Maybe I have like one thing. Here's my strategy. When I go shopping and I see something labeled as dry clean only, I'm like, that's too high maintenance. I'm never gonna go to the dry cleaners. I don't know, it's just like an extra errand that you have to do. And I feel like if you already have the facilities to wash something at home, why wouldn't you just do that? Also, what is dry cleaning? I feel like it's just this weird oxymoron that makes no sense to me. Do you guys have dry clean only clothes? I feel like that's the next level of adulting. I feel like I'm like the kind of adult that just has like basic things. And then I think of like dry cleaning clothes of like the corporate world, which I'm not in. If I worked in an office and I wore like fancy woman suits, then maybe they'd be dry clean only. But my wardrobe's not fancy or advanced. The only article of clothing that I can think of that's in my closet right now that takes extra work is my wedding dress. That's just been sitting in my closet for years doing nothing. It's not like I wear it around the house at all. Reading this made me think like, man, maybe I should have dry clean only clothes because that's like a grown-up thing. But I don't know. I don't. The only bodily waste you have to worry about cleaning up is your own. Or your pets. Yeah, I never think twice about that kind of stuff. I do have to scoop cat litter, but I feel like that's pretty minor compared to parents who have to deal with diapers and all the things that come along with that. Yeah, we definitely dodged a bullet on that one. But then again, someone changed our bottoms when we were little, so thank you to all the moms out there. You will never knock over a mini potty of pee. How do you knock one of those over? Don't they just sort of like sit in the bathroom in a corner? I mean, maybe not. How would I know? I have no idea. I don't potty train kids, so I'm sure you just keep those things around the house wherever you need to so the kid'll go pee in it. You will never have to potty train a human. Isn't that the truth? I have no idea how parents know when it's time to potty train a kid. Like, is it they just reach a certain age and you just start doing it? Is it that, because kids don't ask. They don't like ask to go to the bathroom in like a toilet, do they? I don't know. If you've ever potty trained a kid, I mean, this is probably the wrong audience to be asking this, but if you happen to be someone, even if you're not a parent that's potty trained a kid, how do you know when a kid's ready to potty train? And there's a lot of things that parents just have to know. Like, I guess you just read a lot of books and you just figure it out as you go. I mean, you don't see a lot of 5-year-olds in diapers, so I figure most people have probably got it figured out at a certain point when you're supposed to do these things. College savings can go towards retirement. Education is so expensive. It was expensive when I did undergraduate school and then I went to grad school. I can't imagine having a kid if they decided to go to graduate school someday. It would probably be like 4 times more money than what I paid. I mean, maybe not that much, but maybe by then it would. Maybe by the time they went to university, everything would just be online unless you had like a lab class that you had to physically be there. And then technically, couldn't education be cheaper because you don't need all of that brick and mortar to house students for their classes? You will never wake up to a set of mattress-level eyeballs at 3 a.m. quietly staring at you. Nope. But you know what's really creepy? We have 2 cats. Most of the time, they do not sleep with us. Cats are nocturnal, and no matter how much you try to domesticate them, they still have that instinct to get up at 3 a.m. But there are times when I'll suddenly wake up from my sleep, everything's quiet, I haven't heard anything, but you can just sense that something's off, right? There have been times when our black cat literally be sitting right beside me and she'll just be staring at me and I can just see yellow-green eyes zoned in on me and she doesn't blink. Have you noticed cats really don't blink much? And she doesn't look away. And I'm like, is there something behind me? Nope, just me. She's looking at me. And I'm just like, okay, please stop staring at me. You're creeping me out. You will never know the terror of finding a rotten sippy cup of milk in your car. Rotten milk smells nasty. You can sleep in if you want to. And yes, I often do sleep in. You'll be able to eat your food while it's still hot. You'll be able to eat your cereal while it's still crunchy. All without whiny vultures hovering. I would never refer to kids as whiny vultures. She's a mom, so she can say whatever she wants. But it's kind of funny. My nieces and nephews have always been kids that love to eat. They weren't kids that were like super picky and like wouldn't touch anything. But it's so funny because when we have them over, if you ever, and I know I've tried to do this before, it's like you have dinner and then you like, you know, eat your dessert, and then later on I'm just like, oh, I have like a hankering for like another bite of something. I'll sneak into the kitchen while they're like off playing somewhere to get something. They hear like a crinkle of a bag or like the fridge open. They're literally in the kitchen. They're like, what are you doing, Auntie Hannah? And I'm like, oh man, I have to share now. You'll never wake up in a cold sweat at 5 a.m. because you forgot to play Tooth Fairy and all you have is 20 bucks. I don't think the Tooth Fairy ever visited me when I was a kid. It's just like, wow, you lost your tooth. Fantastic. And moving on. Paying a kid $20 for losing a tooth would be outrageous, in my opinion. Plus, it sets a very high expectation for next time a tooth falls out, they're gonna want another 20. Colic. I don't know what colic is. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, colic is frequent, prolonged, and intense crying or fussiness in a healthy infant. Colic can be particularly frustrating for parents because the baby's distress occurs for no apparent reason and no amount of consoling seems to bring any relief. That would be the most frustrating thing ever. So you're trying everything as a parent, you're like trying to feed them, you're changing them, you're rocking them, and they just cry because they're babies and they get to do that. That would be very tough. And it's not like you can say anything to them. They probably don't even understand you being like, what is wrong? Stop crying. Please stop. An open juice box will never get tossed into your leather handbag. I don't even think I own a leather handbag. Somehow I feel like I'm doing this adulting thing wrong. I don't own a leather handbag. I don't own dry clean only clothes. I guess I'm only partially an adult. Vacations are relaxing. This is interesting because I've never actually thought of vacations not really being that relaxing for parents. But now that I think about it, I do actually remember several of my friends saying when they came back from vacation, they were more tired than when they left. Which I guess kind of makes sense because you're in a new area and a new space, and especially if your kids are young, there's a lot of unknowns and you have to keep a better eye on your children and you have to make sure they're not getting into trouble or hurting themselves or even worse than that. So I guess if you have to watch your kids that much more on vacation, that wouldn't be considered very relaxing. There's no just lying on the beach all day and enjoying the ocean breeze and reading a book. No one will ever in your tub. Yeah, I've literally never thought of that in my entire adult life, ever. I don't think I've ever had to clean that up in my entire adult life, out of a tub. I've changed a diaper before, so. You could theoretically clean your house and have it stay that way. Oh yes, I love a clean house. Very particular about my clean house, which I think I mentioned in a video recently that I can't stand messes. Oh yeah, I'm kind of obsessive about having things tidy. I'm sure it can get very frustrating having to clean.
And then clean again, and then clean again, and then do it all over again.
You can go to the gym whenever you want. That is very true. The only thing that restricts me from going to the gym is the hours that it is open. You'll never have to chaperone a field trip or realize you're the only parent that forgot to turn in the permission slip. Do parents not like chaperoning field trips? I've watched some YouTube channels and when the parents, it's usually the mom, that chaperones field trips, they're like, oh yeah, we get to go on a field trip. And they actually look like they're genuinely excited about it. Like they get to hang out with their kid and their kid's friends for the day and go do something fun. Maybe they were faking that they were excited about doing it. I mean, maybe taking care of other people's kids can be a challenge too, because you kind of know how your kid's gonna behave, so you got that down, but then you have a whole bunch of other children that you have to take care of, and so maybe that could be a little overwhelming and also very energy draining. Puberty. I don't even think I need to say much about this one. We all went through it, we know it's rough, but then imagine being the parent and then you have to deal with what we were. She also has kind of a funny note attached to part of the article, and it says, with my husband as an attorney, aside from being jealous of people without kids, I've also become really jealous of those who will never have to worry about bailing their kid out of jail or hiring them a lawyer. Then she says, just kidding, I won't be bailing my kids out of jail. That's a tough one. Would you bail your hypothetical kid out of jail? I have no idea if I would bail my kid out of jail or not. But one thing I do know, there are a lot of decisions I am never going to have to make because I'm never going to be a mom. And you can check out that video right here.